Hey everybody, how you doing? Tom Willard here with Tom Willard Trading. It is December 11th, checking in. It's been a while since I posted a video. Thought I'd get an update here. Got some emails in. People are asking for videos. So I said, hey, let me find some time this weekend and put it together. So I've just scanned. I want to talk in general about the markets first. I'm going to share a couple of my top ideas I got for trades this coming week. And then I'm going to give a lesson. One of those is going to kind of segue into a lesson on relative strength, and I'm going to show you why I'm interested in the stock and why it's showing more strength from its peers. But then I'll talk about the counter side of if things start to fall apart and go lower. So let's get started here with the SPYs. As you all know, unless you've been asleep for a couple months, the market has reversed hard off basically, if you look here on the weekly chart, from say end of 2015, we really was pretty much flatlined through July. And then we came up, kind of hovered, went lower, and then the election came, and the market's been ripping ever since. So if you miss this move at this point, if you look at the daily chart and you're a swing trader, okay, um, you're a person that buys and holds overnight, it's too extended here to be buying. Your buying points were off the bullish gap up here, okay, with the stop either under this low or under the low here, buying it right here on anticipation of the momentum. And then when you had this big momentum day, you'll notice you have a little bit of a flag pattern here. See it? Right around 218. So your entry here is at 218 and change, okay? And your stop could be down here under the 215 area, or you could use a couple bars back. Okay, so those are your more legitimate. One, a more aggressive entry off the bullish gap, off the confirmation bar here, and the flag, beautiful entry here off this flag position, okay, moves up, came down, jog lower off the failed push back down to the rising moving averages where we're starting a new uptrend is what it looks like it's going to be. Okay, and we broke out here over 222 with authority. Okay, and now we're up 3 days. So now's not the time to be buying new longs. Okay, that are at least that are tracking like this. Other things where things are turning, changing from stages where they're going from a long-term kind of dormant stage to more of an uptrend. You can catch some of those, and I'll talk about a few of those ideas here shortly. So that's the SPYs. You'll see here on the weekly again we're extended up to. So that doesn't mean you can't day trade long. You get a nice base on the 60 or 15-minute chart. You can get a nice day trade long, trade in, or you can go short if things get capitulative up here near the highs, which is definitely possible. I wouldn't fight the trend for very long. Okay, the trend here is up, but do realize you have to have stops in. Things could collapse. Okay, in general over the last several years we've had a bull market, and when things come falling apart, it's going to be hard, and it's going to be. You better have your stops in. Those of you guys that were trading gold with me, I guess, like I mentioned, I think a couple of videos ago, got nailed my stops, got out, and at the time, you're like getting out, and you're like, all right, I still got a profit on my shares, but you know, part of you may think, well, maybe I should just hold on, maybe it'll come back. Well, thank God. If you guys have looked at any of the GLD, the GDX, most of the major gold miners, they've retraced and continue to retrace quite a bit. In fact, here, since I'm here, why don't I just pull up the chart? You'll see here the GLD here has come down quite a bit. Now, as I mentioned, if you've been following my videos, I was a buyer right here. Okay, sold into the strength, bought more in here, sold into the strength. Okay, and then sold here, and then sold off the stop out here. So overall, very, very nice trade for me, and thank God I got out here because you can see it's gone down another, good Lord, about 10 points from 120 down to 110 change. So now we're in this area. Now I'm watching. I'm still interested in gold. I think longer term, I think gold's going to go higher. I really do. Um, but I don't fight the charts. If the charts tell me to get out, I get out. But I'm still watching this as a possible situation where we can start buying again. And like I said, nibbling here in this area off this retracement level, small shares is something you can do. Okay, I've actually nibbled into GDX right here in this area. Right here is just basing out. And of course, if I want to keep my stop tight, I put it right under these lows. If it breaks 20, I'm out. Okay, I take a small loss. Or if I'm taking really small shares and I've got a longer term look at this thing, I may move my stop all the way down to this area down here, but that's a huge stop. Okay, $20 down to $13. That's a $7 stop. The thing's gonna have to move $21. It's gonna have to double to make that stop worthwhile, in my opinion. Okay, but if you get a longer term haul, this thing could easily go up. I mean, let me just drag the monthly chart in here. you'll see on the monthly chart how high it was, and it's come down. So it definitely has room. This is the first real strong push off the bottom on volume. We've retraced about half of that. You know, in essence, this is where things should start getting better for gold. And so I'm going to be watching like a hawk. I'll tweet about it occasionally when I have time during the market days. But keep an eye on this on yourself. And I mean, this, like I said, I thought it was reasonable to be buying here at 20. And I'll decide whether I want to keep the stop real tight. I did really small shares, or just hold it for longer term and see how it behaves when it gets down into here, because I think this thing can go back up to these highs when and if things change markedly in the general sentiment of the market. Let's take a look at the Qs here real quick. Go back to the chart here. All right, similar action, a lot more herky-jerky. You'll see the chart here is not as clean as the SPYs. Lots of up and down slop, but vicious move down here end of December, and then we've gone right back up. So here, if you look at the weekly, it kind of smooths it out. You'll see we're back up at the highs. We're not quite, you know, as high as the SPYs, but we're at highs. So is this extended? On the weekly, no. You could say, hey, this is actually a little bit of a base. The volume's been pretty light. Got a couple of pops here. I could buy the high here with a stop under the low. Okay, but you got to be prepared to have what, about a $7 stop. Okay, so it's got to run $21. Can it run $21? Yeah, I could. It's going to take some time. Okay, but this isn't a great base. You know, you got this kind of cup with handle. It's sloppy. Okay, but this thing trades sloppy in general. So you have to make the call. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not buying this over the 120 mark with the stop on a 113. No way, no how. Not buying it. Too sloppy. We're up 5 days in a row. Okay, this is the weekly chart. But the daily chart's up 5 days in a row. I would not buy it here. So I'm day trader this only if this sets up for me during the intraday hours. All right, so let's cut to the chase on a couple ideas I scanned. Nuon, I really like this one. It's had a really robust move off the lows here on the weekly. You'll see it here, okay? And it kind of topped out here on volume. And it's pulled back here nicely within the range of this pullback. It's probably right now about a 35, 40% pullback from this roof top to bottom here. Okay, from here, from this bottom to this top. So you're getting in a range where you're going to look to buy it. Now, it's not an uptrend, okay? Not on the weekly. On the daily chart, it is now, okay? Things is looking like it's starting an uptrend, okay? It hasn't confirmed yet, but it sure looks like it wants to start an uptrend. Well, now would be the time to look at it, and off this strong volume move, I'm typically a buyer in this area. So I'm looking to buy if it can get itself a nice solid day above these highs here where my arrow is, and then you can put your stop in below these lows, or if you want to give it some cushion, like I typically do. Put it down under the whole number or down wherever that is for you. Okay, put a stop in though. Okay, and at some point draw a line in the sand, get the hell out of Dodge if it doesn't work out. But this is what I'm liking. I like the transition here. I feel like it's transitioning to another move higher, and with the market wind at its back, if the market can continue to move higher, I think this thing has got some good upside zip. Okay, so watch this one closely, and again, all bets are off if the market falls apart on longs, especially with how everything's been so long in the tooth. You'll get some sector rotations you've seen. Some of the financials have been ripping. Don't buy Goldman Sachs at this point. I mean, you'd have to be, I think, crazy to want to buy it here. This thing is, look how far it's come here, and what is that, like 8 weeks, 10 weeks off this low, just a massive run. It's just not buyable. Could it go higher? Yeah. And also, I wouldn't short it, guys. Some of you guys think, you know, well, he's saying it's so extended, you know, only idiots and morons are buying up here. Well, not necessarily. I'm not a buyer of this up here. I may short it. If I were forced to trade, I'd look to short it, and I may short it intraday. But right now, this thing is extended. Don't buy it, okay? And from a short perspective, when you fight these trends like this, man, you can get taken to the cleaners if you don't know what you're doing. Keep them tight, okay? Keep the stops tight. Work on them on the small time frames. That's what I do. Is look for little edges to get in and take my losses if it nails me, if it stops me out. But don't try to be a hero and hold on, saying, oh no, it's extended here. Look, it's slowed down. It's going to come down. These people here, they got short at 210. If they're still holding the bag, they're in a lot of pain. All right, so we talked about Nuon. Let's talk about the OAS. A lot of these energy stocks are getting a lot of money nowadays. You'll see a flag, pretty much a picture-perfect flag forming here on the daily chart. Okay, nice bottoming tail. This little push down, I think, really kind of drained the weak hands. Came up here. I almost said drained the swamp. And it's looking to transition here to go higher. I think it's flagging. You could buy the highs, stop under the lows. Watch it here. Volume has dropped off immensely in this flag. It's a little bit extended, and this is going to get a little noisy. So you may come down. You may want to use a larger stop. Okay, again, it could come down and clip the stop and then turn right around and go. Okay, So figure out where you are, your reward risk, your target wise. You know, you're going to be looking at, let me back this up a little bit. We've got some resistance here around the 20 area, but if we can get going beyond that, I think it's got $5 to $10 in it of run. So it could be a pretty good run. If we can get up there, it's got some traffic to negotiate with here, but watch it. You can at least look for 20 area if this sets up for you and it triggers. Okay, so I'll be watching this one. Again, I don't have any orders in for it yet, but I'll be watching for it. Wouldn't be fun unless we did a short, didn't we? Or do we? Let's take a look at the CERN. This thing's come down here quite a bit on the weekly. You see the volume get really high, tried to jog up, came right back down, setting up, basing here near the lows, running into the moving average. Everything's in a downtrend here. Okay, we're rolling over here pretty hard on the weekly chart. I like this as a possible short. Okay, now it's a little bit extended down here, so watch this daily chart, but let it simmer here over the next several weeks. But I think something might set up here where you can get short under the lows, stop over the highs. If you're using a higher time frame, you get short under these lows and stop it over the pivot here around $52 a share. So this is another one to keep an eye on. GNC is one I've been short in, and I talked about it several videos ago about the entry, and I've covered some, but I'm still holding shares. I think this has just been a stair step down. You'll see it here on the weekly chart. Off this high at 50, just came down hard. Faked up higher here, came down hard, faked up, came down hard. Notice a little higher high, bam, higher high, bam. Look at this, higher high, bam. So I would anticipate this making possibly another higher high here. But again, I wouldn't be buying it, and I'm not looking to cover it right now. At this point, I'm gravy. So even if it gets up to here, I'll leave my stop up at this stair step. It's got to get back up to 20. I think this thing's going to 0 at some point. I think it's going down. So watch to play with this on the short side. I'm in it short right now, but I will look to add to the position if I get a setup. And of course, if it completely someone buys it out for $50 a share, well, then I'm gonna have to take my lumps and get out too. So just be aware. Nothing's for sure, but that's my game plan on GNC and where I'm at on it. All right, last one. This one goes a segue into the lesson. MGM. So these gaming stocks, they've been doing pretty well. MGM here, you see it's kind of sloppy, but you can see it's uptrending pretty clearly here. Weekly's got a nice move up. Volume's been picking up here. This is kind of a red, ended up being a red bar on pretty high volume. Let's see if it can hold this after this kind of bearish bar after this big move. Okay, but I'm interested in this as a long. I think it's a great idea to watch long, and the sector is looking pretty good. Now, this one is the leader. Okay, this is the MGM on the monthly. You'll see the chart here came out, cupped out. Technically, we may get 4 or 5 months of handle here. Who knows? Sometimes there's no handle; it just runs. Okay, but just so you know, that's what I'm looking at there. Now, let's look at some of its peers. Okay, because that's always important to do when you are comparing and looking to buy some. I usually look at the peers in the group, and you see LVS got crushed here. Okay, and it came down on the weekly chart. Okay, but now here's the thing. Let me pull that monthly back in. Okay, in fact, let me just put it back down here. Notice the monthly here of LVS. Okay, let me go back to MGM. Notice the strength difference, right? Notice how MGM is up here near highs on the monthly, whereas LVS is not. Okay, relative weakness. This one's weaker than the MGM. Now take a look at WIN. Very similar, right? Very lower end here, not anywhere near those highs. So they've come down quite a bit. Now, this thing, if the sector goes, I'm not just going to trade MGM. I mean, I would get on WIN and LVS. They're setting up here. You see they're basing out here. They're not able to go lower. You know, WIN actually obviously took a dive too, so something must have come out. I didn't look it up, but something must have come out negative to the gaming stocks, or it's possible one of them reported and it brought the whole group down. But you see they all have the similar red bar type of situation going on. MPEL. Here's another one where if you look at the monthly chart, notice it's not anywhere near those highs like MGM is. Okay, it's down here. But again, if the sector runs, these will go too, and you may get some better bang for your buck off these. But MGM is the leader. If you're going to play this play here, I think the one to get a piece of is MGM. It's got to set up for you. You got to get your pattern. Again, I don't have a pattern here. I'm not in any of these. I'm just kind of walking you through my train of thought. Okay, so these are the ones I'm watching in the game. So I like the MGM. I think the WIN and LVS can go. Now, on the contrary, things start to fall apart, and we cannot hold this area here. Say for example, the market goes down or the gaming sector starts to fall apart. MGM starts to roll over as the leader. These ones that are weaker will lead to the downside typically. Okay, and so this WIN you can look for to actually get short if it breaks below these lows, or if you want to front run it and get in long here. for a cheaper price. Just have your stop in under here, and if it takes it out, take it out. Okay, but this could definitely be a setup for a short. But you can see it's holding this area right now. I think the line in the sand is about $80 a share on this win, where if it breaks below that, we may see lower prices. And MGM probably won't run anywhere. It'll probably come down too, but probably not as much as Win. LVS, same boat. You got that same basing action here, as you see on the monthly. Weekly chart's got a little bit more up end to it, actually. Okay, it came down here, lower low here, higher low, and came up here and took out these highs and is now pulling back. Pretty ugly day here. Okay, so nothing to buy at this time, but just something to watch in general. MPEL. Same thing, kind of holding this area here. Okay, and then some of the other games, like Boyd Gaming is pretty strong here. You'll see this one up here near the highs. Daily charts had a big run. Okay, weekly chart back up near these highs. You'll see the monthly is generally up here in a sense a very wide sloppy base. In fact, it just looks like a bunch of overlapping candles. Here you'll see it come up and it's just kind of held this area here. Had one shake out of this area here, back up to the highs. So this is another one that's interesting, I think, and worth watching. Okay. All right, guys. I hope you found that video helpful, useful, educational. As always, hit me up, tom@tomwillardtrading.com. If you have any questions, comment on the video. Follow me on Twitter if you want to get some of my ideas real time in the market. I'll tweet on occasion while I'm trading, and it's convenient for me to do so, obviously, because if I'm in the middle of trades, I typically focus. So, that being said, have a great rest of your great trading week this week. FOMC is coming up this week. Be aware of that. Okay, be aware. Make sure you are hedging your positions is what I would do if you're strongly long in a certain sector. It could be everyone's anticipating a raise, and we'll see how the market reacts. That doesn't mean the market's going to come crashing down. It doesn't mean it's going to go flying up. We'll have to see what happens, and you just have to play it. And again, stick to your charts. Put your stops in. Take your stops when they happen. It's the only way you stay protected, and that's the way you can trade confidently in this overheated market. You know, a lot of people are saying, well, I'm going short now, I'm not going to go long. And I'm like I said, I think there's a couple of videos that said, guys, don't fight this. If the market's still going up, play it long. Just have your stops in, because chances are is you won't get hurt that badly if your stops get taken. You shouldn't. Now, if you're holding overnight, you're holding through earnings reports, things can gap heavily against or for you. You want to play that game, know you're playing that game, and be willing to take your lumps. I guess you have no choice but to take your lumps, win it if it happens, okay? But continue to stay on the long side. In general, I'm basically staying on the long side with some hedges here and there until the market tells me different. Right now, the charts are saying we're still going higher, okay? So stick with it and use your stops. Probably won't get another video out till around the holiday. I'm guessing probably end of this month. If I get some time, I'll probably throw another one out there. But again, interested in your comments, questions. So holler at me when you get a chance. All right, guys. Have a great trading week.